Next one up is the Sugar Bowl. This is Georgia and Notre Dame. The line opened at -1.5 Notre Dame, but right now it's -1.5 Georgia, and the point total is 44.5. That's low. Do you still like the under in this one? Because I kind of do.
Well, so we're assuming Gunnar Stockton's going to be the guy, right?
Like he's going to play quarterback. Yeah.
So if you're Notre Dame, you realize that the run game is your strength. It's what you're the best at. So it's what you're going to do the most, especially against a Georgia defense that's very fast, that's very talented, that having that quarterback run game like we just talked about with Will Howard gets you that extra blocking hat in the box, right? To be able to supplement not just going base against them and having that extra guy. On the Georgia side, you've got your backup quarterback. He's a better runner than Carson Beck. How much do you trust him throwing it? You're probably going to run the ball a lot, which means that this clock is going to be flying, and I can understand why you would take the under. I can understand why people started betting Georgia the minute Georgia was an underdog. Here's where I want to caution Georgia fans in this game. To all the Georgia fans that are saying, well, Gunnar Stockton's better than Carson Beck. You don't know that. You may end up being right. Maybe he comes out and he just absolutely balls. I don't know. But if you're sitting here saying Gunnar Stockton is better than Carson Beck, you're saying two things. One, you think that sample size, which he had some errors too, including almost throwing the game and the season to Texas in that second to last drive. So you have a small sample size compared to a big sample size with Carson Beck. So I don't like that. And then second thing off is you're saying Kirby Smart is stupid. That's what you're saying. Kirby Smart is so stupid that he's been playing the wrong quarterback this whole time. For 2 years, he's been playing the wrong quarterback. So either you're smarter than Kirby Smart, which I don't think you are. I'm not. I don't think you are either. Or you're just guessing. So we'll see. But as far as the way this game's going to go, it's going to be run, stop the run. Who can hit those 3 to 5 big plays? Who's got the balls to call 2 to 3 trick plays to try and score, and then who can make field goals? That's what I think this game's going to come down to. I think it's a pick 'em for a reason. I actually like Notre Dame early right now, thinking about it. I haven't officially made my pick. I mean, we filled out our brackets, and I got Notre Dame beating Georgia, but I still don't feel great about it. But I tell you what, man, schematically, if you're Georgia and you're Bobo, I mean, Blaine, how close to the vest do you call this offensively? Early, you're going to play it close, right? Just to see maybe if we can get away with vanilla ice cream at the kid's birthday party this year.
Well, you look, I'm more of a chocolate ice cream guy myself, but the one thing I won't do, and I've made this mistake before and I won't make it again. If there's anybody who I trust, all right, it's that guy with the bowl haircut who wears a visor, all right, in Athens, Georgia, in big football games. I think this game's going to come down to which quarterback can make the big plays. Jake, I agree with you. Not only with his feet, but who can actually throw it with consistency. All right, Riley Leonard, he's been good throughout the year. He's had some struggles, but we think he's getting better and better. I promise you right now, Notre Dame, that those 98-yard touchdown runs you just saw against last week, that ain't happening.
Yeah. Those are 10-yard gains.
Yeah, congrats. You got 12.
That ain't happening this week.
You got a first down.
Yeah.
It's just not. But I will say this. This Georgia defense has been inconsistent this year. We're not used to seeing that from a Georgia defense. And the one thing that does hurt Georgia is quarterbacks who are mobile, right, who can extend the plays and make a guy miss and go get a first down. And if there's anybody who can do that, that's Riley Leonard, all right? But we just don't know enough about Gunnar Stockton. Say what you want about Gunnar, all right? You can say what you want about him. I know he made that terrible throw, but damn it, he came in and won the game.
Yeah.
He came in and got the job done when pressure was at its highest. I mean, in overtime, got the job done. I think if you're
a shot too.
If you're Mike Bobo, you got to trust this guy. You have to trust this guy, because if you don't, if you dip your toe in the water, that's a recipe for losing to me. Okay.
Well, they're going to trust him. They're going to trust him enough to run him out there and play quarterback, obviously. But I think that given the situation, you're going to see a vintage, quintessential Kirby Smart game plan on defense where he's telling his guys, I don't know what we're going to get out of the quarterback position. Hey, maybe Gunnar Stockton, the pride of Rabun County, ends up being the MVP of this game, or maybe he ends up being a liability. But I'll tell you this, if we don't allow any points, we can't lose the football game. That's what Kirby Smart's saying to his defense, and he's going to say whatever it takes takes, we're going to shut down the run. Riley Leonard is not going to run all over us. Make him throw the football. And if we lose to Notre Dame because Riley Leonard threw the football through the air effectively and we were bad on offense, then that's just what it have to take. We'll get ready for 2025. But you have to make him throw the ball. And I think Kirby Smart saying if we make Riley Leonard throw the football 35 to 40 times a game, then we're going to win.
Yeah, and so here's where I want to go with this, because, guys, we do have a common opponent here in Georgia Tech. How much, if I'm Notre Dame, am I sitting here after playing Georgia Tech? So I got that film. It's going to be fantastic. Then breaking down the Georgia Tech film. How many times am I going to replicate or try to replicate the way that Georgia Tech attacks Georgia with Haynes King, with Riley Leonard? So
quarterback counter.
Yeah, quarterback counter, all that stuff. And I know Kirby knows that's coming, but just because you know it's coming doesn't mean you can stop it. It's like the Taliban when we decided to blow them up. You knew we were coming, but you guys were dead anyway. So when I look at Blaine brought up the point, and this needs to be hammered home. Who has caused Georgia problems? When you go through Georgia's schedule, when you look back at it and look back at the games where really they've given up the most points, and I understand that they shut out Clemson and Cade Klubnik that can run, but you gave up 41 to Bama, all right, running quarterback. You gave up 31 to Mississippi State with Van Buren, running quarterback. You gave up 28 to Ole Miss, running quarterback with Jackson Dart. You gave up 42 to Georgia Tech with a running quarterback. What did Texas not have? A running quarterback. When did Texas score one of their only touchdowns against Georgia in the SEC championship? When Arch Manning went in there. So you don't have to be Nostradamus to realize that, look, Notre Dame, there's nothing left to hide. Like, there's nothing left to save any bullets for. You got to empty the clip on this one. So why would I not, knowing that Georgia's got a backup quarterback over there, say, you know what, guys? We are going to run the ball until they prove they can stop it with the quarterback and then take a couple shots deep. That's what I would do. That's where Georgia struggles. But Cone, the havoc plays, I'm going to go back to this. We talked about this with Kevin Jennings. We talked about this with all these running quarterbacks. Can Riley Leonard make those goofy-ass havoc plays that, he shakes one guy and makes another one miss and takes off and runs for 35, or wiggles his way out of a tackle and runs for 13 to 15 yards? Can he do that against Georgia? My answer, I think so.
Well, obviously he can. Will he, though? I mean, Riley Leonard will throw you the football. He'll turn the football over too. And when I keep having these defensive performances for Kirby Smart against Texas, and I understand what you're talking about with mobile quarterbacks, but that's still Quinn Ewers, who we just saw light up Clemson. That's still Steve Sarkisian calling plays, and they were bringing in Arch at times. And Kirby Smart pitched really a perfect game. 2 different performances there. So look, I'm expecting a defensive battle, a stalemate, and can Riley Leonard sort of break free and not make those mistakes? Like, he's going to have to put the football in his hands on the ground and through the air for 4+ quarters. Can he do that consistently without having that big interception play like we saw against Northern Illinois that cost you the game?
Well, I will say this. I would feel a lot better as a Notre Dame fan if I'm down 10 than I would a Georgia fan. Because I think Riley is good enough to bring you back. I just don't know if Gunnar Stockton.
Well, Blaine, let me ask you this. If you're Al Golden, who's a savant defensively, by the way, I just love watching that man operate. How are you, when you look at this Georgia team, they're going to go out a lot of personnel with a tight end, right? Especially with a backup quarterback like Gunnar Stockton, especially with a guy like Gunnar Stockton that is a run threat. Are you kind of worried about maybe putting all your eggs in the basket of stopping the run and giving him a chance to hurt you? I just go back, Cone, to the Ohio State loss to Michigan a couple years ago, where Michigan couldn't throw the ball, and Jim Knowles said, okay, we're going to go zero coverage. We're going to put everybody that's ever went to Ohio State in the box, not just to match personnels, but overload personnels. Does Notre Dame need to be a little careful of that, Blaine, going into this game defensively?
Well, I look at it like this. Who scares you on the outside for Georgia? Georgia doesn't have that guy this year.
Well, Nia Smith can't catch.
I mean, they don't. They lead the nation in drops. Brock Bowers isn't out there. All right, Ladd McConkey isn't out there. George Pickens isn't out there. The one thing that has hurt them is not having that weapon on the outside. So look, if I'm Notre Dame, you got to prove it to me. You're going to have to prove to me that Gunnar Stockton can throw the football. I am loading the box. If you want to take your shots, take your shots. That's fine. I'm forcing Gunnar Stockton into have to throwing the football. That would be my game plan. Why wouldn't you? I'd be the same thing with Riley Leonard. Both of these game plans should be the same on defense.
And here's a huge coaching point. How do you protect, and Cone, I think you can speak to this too, having played the position. You got a backup quarterback in there. How do you protect him on 3rd and passing, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10 plus? You give him a lot of easy throws. What's one of the easiest throws? Screens, right?
Roll him out.
So roll him out, sprint him out, screen him out, all that stuff. So if I'm Notre Dame, yes, I'm saying, hey, if we got to stack this thing up on 1st and 2nd down to get in 3rd and 9, great. That's awesome. Let's do it. But understand when you get to 3rd and long, and we're always screaming screen draw as a defense on 3rd and long. Hell, watch the live stream that we did with Notre Dame and Indiana. About half of America did anyway. We're screaming screen draw on every 3rd and long because we know it's coming even with your starter. But when you're having to protect a guy, that's when you're going to get those screens, whether it's the quick screens, the now screens outside, whether it's bubbles, whether it's slips, whether it's tight end delays. They're going to find easy ways for him to get the ball out that doesn't put them in danger on 3rd and passing, as opposed to saying, hey, man, get in that 5-step drop, dial in through your 3 reads, and hammer it in there if you got to in between the levels.
And two, I'm just wondering too, when it comes to Georgia's run game, how much of this is, you know what, guys, we're going to make running the football a priority. It's the only thing we care about in this game. We're going to rush against Notre Dame for over 200 yards. We don't care who we put at quarterback. We're going to snatch their soul from start to finish and run it down their throat and dare them to stop us. Yeah. It's one thing to have that game plan. It's obviously another thing to execute it. But would anyone be surprised if this game played out and it's all of a sudden it's like, man, Georgia really made a commitment to run the football and they did it and this thing was never close? That could happen too.
Yeah, no, it could, but like
we haven't seen it this season. But just like I haven't seen the Buckeyes get off to a hot start and just mop somebody from start to finish. Well, I saw it yesterday.
Yeah, well, it just I'm this Notre Dame defense. I just again, like you see it. Like, you know what time the train's showing up. Mm-hmm. You know which way the train's going to go. It's just, is it as simple as if Notre Dame stops the run, they win the game?
I don't know if it's that simple, but that's a great place to start. Yeah, let's start there if you're Notre Dame.
That's very true.
Hey, appreciate you guys stopping by. It means the world to us, whether you agree, whether you disagree. Hopefully it's a little bit of both. We love engaging. Y'all are the best audience in the world. And please make sure you hit that subscribe button because it helps everybody out.